Las Vegas, and welcome to Chris Garcia, the conservative American. I'm so proud to be an American today, and thank you so much for watching today. And sorry, just a little bit under the weather today, but we all going to get through. We get to this age, right? We all get a little sick sometimes. It's all right. We're gonna just fight through it today, and we're gonna be okay. Thank you so much for joining us today on Radio Tribune. I mean, wow, such a blessing to be down here in wonderful Las Vegas. Downtown here, right off the corner of 9th and Charleston, radiotribune.com. You can listen to us stream live. Go to www.radiotribune.com, and you can listen to all the wonderful shows here in the Radio Tribune Broadcasting Company. We have Gordon Martinez, of course. We have Face the Tribune with Rolando Barras, Chris Garcia, the conservative American. We have Blue Laker with Cobra, and we have another show that will be coming up pretty soon. I don't want to ruin the surprise, but we have another big show coming up, a great talent that's going to be joining Radio Tribune within the next week or so. So we're so blessed. We're getting things together here, and I told you, expect big things this year, 2017, out of Radio Tribune. But once again, thank you so much for joining us and watching us today. We will be up on YouTube, of course, in a couple of hours. And again, you can go to www.radiotribune.com and listen to us stream live Monday through Friday. I just want to talk to you today a little bit about what's going on in Washington, D.C., about James Comey and about things that are going on there. I think that it's just much to do about nothing. If you're getting tired of watching this and listening to this, so am I. It just makes absolutely no sense, does it? What exactly are they looking for? What exactly are they looking for? It makes no sense. The president did not force him to do or say anything. James Comey already met with President Trump 3 times before he was fired and told the president that you are not under investigation. Then that should have been the end of it. James Comey was fired because he is incompetent at his job, period. And I think there are a few people in the administration, there are a few people that work in the Trump administration that need to be fired because they're incompetent. I think he's just the first of many. He didn't get fired because he was investigating Donald Trump because he told Donald Trump himself 3 times on 3 different occasions, you are not under investigation of any criminal activity whatsoever. So Donald Trump had there was no reason for him to fire him except he felt like he was incompetent. Donald Trump is a smart man, and he knew that the investigation into the Russian allegations was going to happen whether James Comey was there or not. And more than likely, if you fired James Comey, they would just hire a special prosecutor to investigate what they thought was going on between Russia and the Trump administration, period. I said it months ago, and it's so funny that all these things are going on. I know a lot of times when I'm doing Face the Tribune with Rolando, there's so many things that he mentions and says that are going on, and he gives his opinion, and months later he's proven right every time. A lot of times on Chris Garcia, the conservative American, I give you my opinion, and months later it comes out, and that's exactly what I told you. I told you months ago there was nothing to this investigation. I also told you months ago, if you remember, back channel relations happen all the time between countries. There is nothing extraordinary, nothing new about that whatsoever. Every single administration that has won an election or thinks that they're going to win or has won and has not taken office yet, in the awkward months between the time that the new president wins and the old president leaves, there's like a 2-month period, you establish back channel relations between yourself and other countries. If you think you're going to win, if you have a chance to win, you cannot afford to hit the ground behind schedule. You have to hit the ground running. If I'm running and I've beaten 17 other people in primaries, and it comes down between a race between me and Hillary Clinton for president, I am not going to wait until I win or wait until I take office to begin to establish back channel relations with other countries. That would be the dumbest thing that I've ever done in my life. That would have been the stupidest thing President Trump has ever done in his life. I'm going to tell you why. You have less than 4 years to get things done. You can't spend the first 6 months to a year of your administration just establishing relationships. You don't have time to do that. That's ludicrous. You have to hit the ground running. You have to hit the ground running. You have to already have established relationships. You can't just begin to establish the relationship the day that you take office. You have too much to do. So the fact that they're getting on him about that, I always felt like it was insane. They could not believe that he won. And I'm going to tell you furthermore what they really can't believe. They thought he was a clown. They thought Donald Trump was a circus act. They watched the show, The Apprentice. They watched some of the things he did. They talked about his haircut. You saw the skits on Saturday Night Live. They thought that he was a clown. That's what they thought. They didn't. How does this man, how do you become a multi-billionaire? How do you come back from bankruptcy, legal bankruptcy 4 times? And I've explained to people before, it wasn't his bankruptcies. His name was on the company. But trust me, there are so many other people that are involved in those companies. Why you have to file for bankruptcy? Because his name was on the company, because his name was on the hotel, because his name was on the casino. He's the one who the papers are filed under. He's the one that has to go to court. But there's so many other people that are involved with the reason why a business succeeds and fails. Also, I mean, we have to be honest, when that business succeeds, the people that probably made that business successful don't get the credit. You know who gets the credit? Donald Trump. But there's so many other people that went into making that business a success. But when it fails, you know who gets the blame for it? Donald Trump. So it's not always necessarily his success. But when he filed for bankruptcy 4 times, it wasn't necessarily always his bankruptcy. But he, as a man, he stood up and he took credit. He used the laws in his favor, like he explained when he was debating Hillary Clinton, the same laws that the Clintons created for their friends to file for bankruptcy. He used the laws in his favor and he came back and he established him with the help of his children, a multi-billion-dollar international corporation that's known all over the world. Trump Industries. So he's not a clown by any stretch of the imagination. He's a very, very, very intelligent, shrewd businessman. That, I mean, let's be honest, I don't care what he says. He's done business in Russia. He's done business in China. One of his best friends, Rex Tillerson, who was the president of ExxonMobil, did lots of dealings, back channel dealings in Russia. They were very good friends. Vladimir Putin gave him the Medal of Friendship. One of only 2 Americans he's ever given that medal to in his life. So obviously Donald Trump had businesses and dealings in Russia, though that's a lie if he said he didn't. I don't care. As well as I think he's had dealings in China, of course, and all over the world. And so he has relationships with a lot of leaders all over the world. There's nothing wrong with that. I think our president should. But they're accusing him of having these relationships as if he's committing a crime. I think that's insane. So you're here to tell me that the Clintons don't have any relationships in Russia, that they don't have any relationships in China, that they don't have any relationships. They took $20 million from the Saudi royal family into the Clinton Foundation. What was that? What was that donation for? Let's pull up the taxes on that. Do you think there was anything going on there? Do you think the Saudi royal family expected anything for their $20 million donation? So for us to sit around and blame Donald Trump and say that these relationships that he had with the Russians are somehow illegal or insane. Do you think Barack Obama, did he self-fund his campaign? Or did he get donations from people all over the world? Some of the shadiest people that you can possibly think of. Of course he did. He took the money and he spent it. Donald Trump at least funded his own run for presidency. And that's what they're really mad about. That's what they're really mad about, is that they can't buy him. They can't buy him. He's got his own money. So that's what they're mad about, is that he's changing the rules. He doesn't have to play by the rules of Washington, D.C. And they're mad about that. He's got plenty of money, but he strikes me as the type of person that even if he didn't have the money, he would do the right things by the American people. That's the way that he was raised. His dad was very strict on him. His dad sent him to military school. I know, I come from a military dad, and they are all about doing the right thing. That's what they're all about. They don't care about nothing else. They don't care about cash because they believe you're going to make the cash, but they believe in you doing the right thing the right way. And that's the way Donald Trump was raised. And so I think that he's always going to I think when he speaks, he means what he says. He is not a politician. When he says he wants to put the American people back to work, that's what he wants to do. When he says he wants to keep the American people safe, that's what he wants to do. I think exactly what he says is what he means, and that's why he attracted voters like my wife. That's why he attracted voters like Rolando Rojas. That's why he had over 64 million votes. That's why he won Michigan. Let me tell you something, I'm from the Midwest. Those are some of the most honest, down-to-earth people. He won every state. You know the one state that he didn't win? The state where they have 2 governors in prison together and a senator, Illinois. I'm from Illinois. I could tell you he wasn't going to win Illinois. He was too truthful. But you go around the west of the Midwest, Indiana, won. Iowa, won. Kentucky, won. Michigan, he won. Wisconsin, he won. You go to every state in the Midwest, he won. Minnesota, I thought he wasn't supposed to win Minnesota. He won. Pennsylvania, wasn't that a Democratic stronghold? Those are some of the most honest, hardworking. They work in plants. They work in steel mills. They work in car manufacturing. They work in carrier, making air conditioners. Those people get up every day. They work very hard to go to church on Sunday. God, country, and family. That's how they're raised. And he overwhelmingly won every single state. That lets you know that the people connected to him, they felt like what he was saying, he was telling the truth. That's why he won. That's what everybody is so mad about. Because he can't be bought and sold. Donald Trump cannot be bought and sold. He has his own money, and he's doing what he's doing. He's not even taking a check for being president of the United States. He's taking a break from making money. He's let his family run his business so that he could do the business of running our country and of spending every hour that he possibly can on making America great again. When he says that, I really believe that that's how he feels. He wants to make America great again. And I have a boss, Rolando Rojas, who's one of the most truthful people that I know. He says exactly what's on his mind. And he had a connection with Donald Trump from day one, from minute one. So you should have known right there that he felt like this man was a truthful man and he was telling the truth. And I think that he says exactly what he feels and what's on his mind. And I think that that's why they don't like him, because he says exactly what's on his mind. And he wants to bypass the press because he knows the press, they take sound bites of what you say, they switch it, they come up with fake news. A lot of people don't like him tweet. He feels like that's the only way he can talk directly to the American people and bypass the media. Twitter is a big thing. I'm not even about Twitter. I feel like I'm too old to tweet. But that just goes to show you how intelligent he is. He keeps up with what's going on in the country, and tweeting is bigger than texting. Everybody loves to tweet. You can get to the masses so quickly. And he feels like he tweets because he wants to tell how he feels and bypass the fake news networks like CNN and MSNBC and ABC, CBS. He just wants to bypass those networks and talk directly to the American people. And when he gives interviews, he gives it to Fox News. Although I think Fox News is becoming fake news as well. I'm sorry, I'm still upset a little bit that Bill O'Reilly isn't on Fox anymore. I like Bill O'Reilly. I think he spoke the truth. I think he was very fair. And I like people like that. And I think they're going to miss him. I think they're going to miss him in the ratings. And I don't think he's replaceable. I like Tucker Carlson. I like Sean Hannity. But I think Bill O'Reilly was irreplaceable. I think he spoke the truth. And I don't think he put up with any crap. And I think that they got rid of him on purpose because he spoke the truth. I think it's a shame. I think they're cowards at Fox News, the whole Murdoch family. I think they're a bunch of cowards. I think they could have stood up for him. And I don't think there was any proof of any sexual assault whatsoever. They paid out money to cover their own butt. And they got rid of one of the most talented people on TV. And I think that it's a shame. So that just lets you know. And I think that they were turning on Sean Hannity as well. So that just lets you know if you work for Fox, you better watch your butt, because that network, if they can do that to Bill O'Reilly, they can do that to you. They can do that to anybody. So I think that's a shame. But anyway, I digress. Getting back to what I was talking about, I think that the Comey investigation is much about nothing. I don't think they have anything on Donald Trump whatsoever. He did not coerce in any way James Comey to say anything. He didn't force him to do anything. I think it's a ridiculous claim. I've been telling you that, and they've been coming out saying there's nothing wrong with having these back channel relations with these other countries. I've always known that. I think it's ridiculous. It happens in every single administration. The Cuban Missile Crisis was defeated because Robert Kennedy was on the phone with Russian leaders. But on TV nationally, John Kennedy could not come out and say that he's having talks with the Russians. Want to know why? Because you look weak. Nobody wants to look weak. That's politics. You're not going to come out as the president of the country and get on national TV and say, we're negotiating with this country so that we can be safe and they won't shoot a bomb at us. You look very weak if you do that. I don't care what anybody says. They might say, well, be honest. Well, you know what? Screw being honest. No one's going to come on national TV and say that. No president of no country is going to do that. You're going to have your vice president call their vice president. You're going to have your secretary of state call their secretary of state. And you're going to tell them what to say. And their president is going to tell them what to say. Because your ego is too big. You didn't become the president of the United States or the president of Russia having a small ego. You became the president because you had a large ego. That's what got you to the point where you got. And you're not going to get on the phone with another leader and beg them not to shoot a missile at you. Although you don't want that missile being shot at you. And you don't want to lose people in your country. You don't want to lose lives. But you yourself are not going to get on the phone and beg that other president not to start a war. That's not going to happen. You're going to have a subordinate get on the phone, talk to another subordinate from the other country, and you're going to work out a peace treaty. That's what happens. That's how the Cuban Missile Crisis it got stopped. Kennedy wasn't talking to their leaders. He had his subordinates. He had his brother on the phone. That's what happens. That's what Donald Trump did. He had General Flynn and other people having back alley talks to some other Russian leaders. There was never a talk between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. There was never any money given but from Vladimir Putin to Donald Trump. Never. So there is no investigation. Were there back channel negotiations between the two administrations? Absolutely. It happens every 4 years. I said that months ago. And now they're coming out and everybody's saying that that's perfectly normal. It's not collusion or coercion to ask for loyalty from the head of the FBI or the head of the CIA or the head of Homeland Security. How is that coercion? How are you influencing anything? The first thing that I would do if I hired any of those people to any of those positions was the first thing that I would do is ask for your loyalty. And I'm not asking for loyalty for me. I'm asking for loyalty for the country. I want you to do the right thing by the people of the United States of America. That's what he asked James Comey. He said, I demand loyalty. I ask for your loyalty. He's asking for loyalty so that you do right by the country. And basically, I don't care if you want to say he's asking by himself. If he feels like if you do right by him as president, because Donald Trump knows he's loyal to this country. He knows he puts this country first. So if you put him first, then you're putting the country first. If you're loyal to him, then you're going to be loyal to the country. That's what he was asking for. That's not coercion. He's not trying to force him to do anything. He wants to know where his head is at. And I don't think I've ever been hired for any position at any job where the boss hasn't asked me for loyalty, where the boss hasn't asked me to find out who my loyalties are to. He wants to know where my head is at. Why am I there? Why do I want the job? Why do I want to work? Am I trying to find out some information and take it to another job? They want to know, why are you there? That's not coercion. To ask him for loyalty. That's worth an investigation. We're spending millions of our taxpayer dollars because Donald Trump asked him to be loyal. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. There's nothing wrong with having back channel communications with other countries. And there's nothing wrong with asking the head of the FBI to be loyal to you. If that's what this investigation is about, we would have to have an investigation every day of every year of anybody that's hired by the government. It's the stupidest waste of money and waste of our time. They're trying to do everything they possibly can do to keep Donald Trump from doing his job, to keep Donald Trump from getting those tax, because this is what this is all about. They just want to give him a hard time. They just want to be obstructionists so that they can get something for passing his bills. Or they can just filibuster his bills. They can just hold him up because they don't want to help him make America great. I did a show on this a couple of days ago, and I'm saying, who really cares about America? Who are the real terrorists? Who are the real losers? The senators? The House of Representatives? Do they really love America? Are they really putting America first? Do they really want America to get back to work? Do they really want tax breaks for the middle class? Do they really want companies to start hiring again? Hell, do they want companies to stay here? Did you see how many companies was getting ready to leave the last few months that Barack Obama was president? They were trying to Carrier and Ford and all those companies, they was trying to hurry up and get out of town because they knew once Donald Trump became president, he was going to point them out. And they wound up having to talk to Donald Trump about staying because they didn't want to be embarrassed, because he was going to call them out by name. That's what he was going to do. He was going to call Carrier out. He was going to call Ford out for moving their plants to Mexico. And so from embarrassment, they wound up having to talk to Donald Trump and cut a deal with him. But that just goes to show you what was happening. Those were just the companies that you heard because Donald Trump was about to become president. So their names came out in the public. Do you know how many companies we have lost during 8 years of Barack Obama? Do you know how many companies moved out of this country? Do you know how many jobs moved out of this country? Do you know how many tax dollars moved out of this country? People that could have been working in this country during 8 years. Did you ever hear about that? Did you ever cut on CNN and they talked about the companies that were moving out of the country? Never. You know what you heard about? Barack Obama winning the Nobel Peace Prize. That's what you heard about. You heard about Black Lives Matter. That's what you heard about. But you never heard about all the companies and all the jobs that were leaving our country. You never heard about that until Donald Trump won. And he was about to take office. And all of a sudden, all these companies were put on blast. They were trying to leave our great country. They were put on blast. And they had to negotiate, not because they wanted to. I think they had to negotiate because they were embarrassed, because they got called out on national TV, because they didn't leave. If they had left 2 months earlier, we would have never heard about it. But because they tried to leave between November and January, Donald Trump called them out. That's why these people are pissed, ladies and gentlemen. They're pissed because Donald Trump calls you out, because Donald Trump can't be bought, because Donald Trump tells the truth, because Donald Trump is really fighting for America. Why? You have to ask yourself a question. Why are they mad about that? Unless I really didn't want to make America great again. Unless I really didn't want to save American jobs. Unless I really didn't want America to be safe. Why would I fight this man if that's what he stands for? I said it the other day on my show. They call him un-American. They say he's a nationalist. I'm a nationalist. I believe in putting America first. I believe in closing our borders and vetting everybody that comes over here. I want to know why you want to come to our country. Because every daggone time I cut on the news, some nut with a robe on is stabbing people and killing them at an Ariana Grande concert. So can I ask you why you want to come in our country? There's something un-American about that? I think I'm very American. I'm more patriotic than you are. And I want to know why you want to come in our country. I know Rolando LaRosse wants to know why you want to come in this country. I know Garcia wants to know why you want to come in this country. We want to be safe. I want to be able to go to the movies. I want my kids to be able to go to concerts without getting blown up or stabbed. That's un-American. I think you're un-American, Paul Ryan, and everybody else for coercion and collusion, trying to stop Donald J. Trump from doing his daggone job. That's what's un-American. Those are the people that should be stopped. James Comey, you're wasting our time. You need to come out and just say Donald Trump did absolutely nothing. Donald Trump did not force you to do anything, because he didn't. And the truth is coming out. Donald Trump didn't force you to do a daggone thing. Donald Trump is doing his job to make America great again. Donald Trump was trying to get a jump on his job. That's how much he wanted to do his job. He wanted to already have relations with certain leaders. He's going to need Russia in the fight against ISIS. We need Russia to be a partner, not an adversary. And all of these old World War II people like John McCain, and all these Vietnam vets, and all of these people need to get over it. Because let me tell you something. You're not going to defeat Russia and Al-Qaeda on your own. You need CIA boots on the ground. You need KGB boots on the ground. You need everybody's boots on the ground. You're not going to be able to win this fight by yourself. So that's why he opened up relations with Russia. I want to thank you so much for listening to me today. I told you when I started this radio show about 6 months ago, and I've been so blessed, so very blessed that Rolando Moraz has had faith in me to take over a little of the programming here at Radio Tribune. We are always going to put America first. Radio Tribune Broadcasting stands for America first. Every single show, everything that we do is going to be about putting America first and looking out for American interests. We live in the United States of America. We don't live in another country. If you don't like this country, well, then leave. We need to get that wall built. We need to support our president. Thank you so much for listening. Chris Garcia, the Conservative American. Google me. I will be up on YouTube. Push the bell, and subscribe. And my show just pops up. Subscribe to all the shows here at Radio Tribune. And they just pop right up on your tablet or your laptop or your phone. God bless America. God bless our troops. And God speed to our great president, Donald J. Trump. Rolando, please feel better. We need you back.